Today, we are unveiling some darkness and bringing it to light. And the topic is on mind. And a huge part of mind control is impacting the chakra system. The chakras are what keep our energy flowing through our body. And we'll get into all of this in the episode. Hi, guys. A side note, I'm editing the podcast right now, and it appears throughout this episode I said chakras and chakras. And just FYI, I pronounce it different throughout this, so apologies if that annoys you. And the software I use also writes it all out how they think I say it, and it's saying shocker. It's just funny, but there's a little comedic relief. Okay, I'm gonna keep going now. And this helps awaken dormant energy and connect you to your true divinity. This is a small tangent, and I mentioned this at the very end, but the summer solstice is on Thursday, June 20th, and I've been doing this sacred activation meditation every day for about a week now, just amping up for the summer solstice. And later on, I talk about a summer solstice meditation ritual that I'll be doing, and I would love for you to do it with me. But back to what I was saying. Well, technically, Jesus and Mary Magdalene, they actually came onto earth automatically with this elevated consciousness, with this Christ consciousness. But people in current times, many don't remember, and they have to go through this process of remembering again and coming back into one with the divine and coming into Christ consciousness. So there is a difference there. But it all leads to the same thing, which is having this elevated consciousness in Christ consciousness where you know truth, you know your divinity, you know your true connection to God, and you innately know all of this knowledge and wisdom. For example, you could view the Knight Templar as more on the side of light, the side of God, the side of Jesus and Mary Magdalene, and then you can view the Freemasons more on the side of dark, more on the side of the dark global elite. But I won't get into all of that in this episode. like I mentioned earlier, to be free, sovereign, fully connected to God, connected to source energy, that true place we belong and is natural to us and is our birthright, being connected is how it's all intended to be. To be fully connected like that, we must be fully connected and resonating with higher dimensional energy, the energy of the non physical dimensions 5 through 9. And like I mentioned, on Earth, this is considered elevated consciousness or Christ consciousness. That's because we're cut off with the false matrix here. But outside of that, outside of this Earth experience, this is just what's natural to us. This is just how we live. And I mentioned that in these physical dimensions, our body is the energetic vessel we use to operate and interact with the energy around us. It's the tool we use to create our reality. Our bodies are electromagnetic, and we should seriously view them as sacred vessels. And then the chakras are the energy centers of the body and regulate our energy flow. And to be able to connect to these higher dimensional energies and gain this elevated consciousness, our chakras or our energy centers must be aligned and spinning to properly regulate the energy. And when the chakras aren't aligned and spinning, we will have energy imbalances. So these sodomy rituals that are rampant in the Catholic Church, rampant in Hollywood, and used as a tool for this global elite group in order to control people, they block the root chakra where this energy flows in, and then it misaligns it so energy cannot properly flow to the other energy centers. And this keeps the person stuck in survival mode and disconnects them from higher dimensional energies and elevated consciousness. So I just think it's really important to understand some of this darkness going on is for deeper energetic purposes. And I just think this is really unveiling this darkness and is really important to understand. I know some of that was a little darker, but important to talk about. But really take from this how important our energy centers are. Really work to get them aligned, get them flowing, and treat your body as a sacred vessel. And you can absolutely align your own chakras doing these different quantum techniques like quantum healing. It's truly just setting that intention. I talk about it so much, but we are so magical. We're energy alchemists. We are so divine. We just don't remember it. Outside of this experience, this is all completely natural to us. So, really start thinking about this and set the good intentions and start living aligned with that truth. Quantum healing is just energy alchemy. It's just using your thoughts and intentions to change the energy that's all around us into the energy you want. So use this to align your own chakras, clear out your chakras, clear out any stagnant energy. There's also meditations you can look up online where it steps through this for you, and you imagine the energy centers, you imagine the chakras, and you imagine them spinning, and you think about the energy moving up your spine, all of that good stuff. You can look that up online. And I'll also link this sacred activation meditation that I like to do. That's another great thing you could do when energy is really potent and that 2.5 days per month when the moon is in your sun sign. That is a great time to do these meditations. This truly will work you towards elevating your consciousness and achieving Christ consciousness. And when you get there, that's when all of this information starts to flow to you. You start to see the truth. You start to see all the lies that have been given to us. You may look to other people and think, wow, they have so much knowledge. How do they have this? Or you may see how people have psychic gifts and think that's amazing. But listen, you literally have that power. And doing these sacred activations will help you get there. You just need to pull in more higher dimensional energy. Literally, we don't need outside spiritual gurus. We are all our own spiritual gurus. You just have to start pulling in that higher dimensional energy so you can start to have this level of consciousness and understand all of this. It's truly kind of just going through a remembering process because, like I said, outside of this, that's our natural state. That all comes so natural to us. It's here on earth that we are blocked from that. So just start pulling in that higher dimensional energy. I talk about how to do this on other podcasts. One great way is meditation and walking in nature and getting the sunlight and just being really mindful. Those are some really easy ways, but start to be purposeful about this. Work to pull in that higher dimensional energy, do these sacred activation meditations, and you will truly start to have crazy insights, realizations, and start pulling in that energy that will help you remember and give you this knowledge. Speaking of higher dimensional energy and sacred activations, if you're listening to this on Tuesday when it comes out, or even Wednesday, you might already know, but Thursday of this week on July 20th is the summer solstice. And the solstice is at 3:50 p.m. Central. And I'm going to be doing a fun meditation type ritual to pull in higher dimensional energies. The whole goal of this is to anchor in higher dimensional energies. And when we anchor in higher dimensional energies, that is the return of Christ consciousness to earth in mass, if we all are doing it. And when we resonate with higher dimensional energies, this leads to elevated consciousness, and this leads to Christ consciousness. And that is actually where we get that term holy. That means you're resonating with all of the higher dimensional energies. So this is actually so important and so powerful. And if this resonates with you and you feel excited about this or you feel called to do it, please do it with me. If you want to do this with me, listen up. Here's what I'll be doing. So first off, every day this week leading up to the summer solstice, I'm going to be doing that sacred activation meditation, and I'll link it in the episode description. And then on the day of the summer solstice, from 3 to 4 p.m., like I mentioned, the solstice peaks at 3:50 p.m. So I'll be doing this meditation for an hour over the period that the summer solstice peaks. And the whole basis of this ritual that I'm doing is taking elements from all of the elements from 8 of the dimensions to anchor in this higher dimensional energy onto Earth. I'll also link a document laying all of this out in case you're more of a visual person than listening to me explain it all. But I'll explain it all too. So first up, I'm going to get items that represent 8 of the different dimensions. So here's what I'll be using personally. To represent the 8th dimension, which is light and God, I'm going to be using a candle, and that represents light. But use whatever resonates to you. You'll probably get some ideas as I talk about what I'm using for the other dimensions. So 8th dimension, I'm using a candle for the light. 7th dimension is sound vibrations. So I'm going to play either high frequency type of music or Bach. Anything like that. Whatever represents high vibrational sound vibrations to you. For the 6th dimension, which is sacred geometry, I'm going to use geometrical shaped crystals. And then for the 5th dimension, that is the realm of love and bliss and is 528 hertz frequency. I'm going to be playing 528 hertz frequency music. So I'll play one of my tunes over my phone and then one over the overall sound system, or I'll use my computer. and I'll play those at the same time. And to represent the fourth dimension, which is the non-physical realm of archetypes, myths, and the collective mind, I'm going to use some archetypal figurines. I have this crystal jaguar figurine, and then I have 2 different crystal butterfly figurines. And that just stands for what these different figures stand for and the archetypes behind them. And those are just personally meaningful to me. Definitely use something that resonates with you. And then for the third dimension, that's the physical, that's biological life, plants, humans. I represent that. And also, I'll have my dog out with me, and he'll probably just lay by me through it. And then I'll put some plants out as well. And then the second dimension is minerals, crystals, energy portals, and energy vortexes. To represent the second dimension, I'm going to use my crystals. And like I said, I have some that are in geometrical shapes, and that will pull in second and sixth dimensional energies. And then I have some crystals that aren't in any specific geometric shape. So I'll use all of those. And the second dimension is also elementals. And every day I wear these solid 18 karat gold bracelets and necklaces. So I'll just wear those that day, and I'll wear my normal diamond wedding band and engagement ring. And those will all be second dimensional elementals and gemstones. And then to represent the first dimension, which is Earth's iron core, I have this iron heart, and I'll use that. So to start off, on the night of the 19th, the night before, I'm going to cleanse all of my crystal figurines and all of my crystals by setting them out in the moonlight. If the crystal type can handle it, I always put them in a glass bowl with some Celtic sea salt in the water. That just helps them get a better charge. And then they'll be ready for the next day. Okay, so here's the next part of it. It's best to do this outside because you're out in nature and you have the sunlight coming in. So I'm going to do this outside on my back deck. And then you'll want a space, an 8-foot by 8-foot cube. This represents magical projection. And then you want all of this to face west. As I talk about this, think of it all. Find a place and think about this setup as facing west. This is where the sun sets. So then think about your 8-foot by 8-foot cube. Think about your square here. In the bottom right-hand side, that's where you're going to set your first dimensional items, your second dimensional items, and your third dimensional. And that includes you sitting there because you represent the third dimension, the physical. So I'll be setting in the bottom right-hand side, and I'll hold my crystals. Then on the front right-hand side, that's where you're going to place your fourth dimensional items. And then you'll place your fifth dimensional item in the middle of the square. Then you'll place your sixth dimensional item on the front left-hand side. And then on the bottom left-hand side, that's where you'll place your seventh dimensional item. So for example, I'm playing music and it is sound. So I'll just put my computer or whatever I'm playing that music off of in the left bottom. And then the eighth dimensional item also placed in the middle. But back to the fifth a minute. So that's also sound because I'm going to be playing 528 hertz frequency. So you could also just set that in the middle. But on my deck, I have overhead speakers. So I'll just play that over the overhead speakers. I'll write this all out and put it in the show notes because it's kind of hard to explain without a visualization, at least for me. I am going off of what I already drew out. So then, like I said, set this up. You set in the lower right-hand corner, and then do a meditation for this hour. So for half of the meditation, meditate thinking about resonating with the fifth dimension. And that's one of the middle items, and that will be that 528 hertz frequency that's coming either from the middle or down from overhead speakers if you have those too. So for the first half, think about resonating with that energy. And then for the second half of it, the other item in the middle represents the eighth dimension. So for the second half, think about resonating and pulling in the eighth dimension. And that is God, source energy, pure light. So even if you wanted to open your eyes and if you have candlelight or a fire in the middle, you could look at that and just meditate and think about resonating with that energy and pulling that energy in. So really conceptually think of this ritual as we are setting up this magical projection cube, and think about it. It's all quantum. It's all quantum. So we're setting up these four corners of the cube to be anchoring in these different dimensional energies. And then during the meditation, we're really focusing on anchoring in the fifth dimension and the eighth dimension. If you do this with me, let me know. I'd love to hear how it goes, and I'd love to hear all about it. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. So, as I said, I will link this in the show notes. I love you all. Thank you so much for listening. If you like this, send to a friend or family, send to people you think it will resonate with. And also subscribe to my podcast and follow me. And I post every week, so give it a listen. I hope you found it helpful and I hope you liked it. Have a great week.